Hey y'all. I am starting my next batch of research. I don't know what day I'm on. I think it's day 3. Um, I honestly have been doing other stuff since I last pulled anything up, so I don't know where I am. And I tried to start this, but I was having internet issues, so I had to turn it off and back on again for my Wi-Fi to work. But I got it working, I think. Anywho, I don't know where I'm at. I'm somewhere in this mess. I do know I want to work on things. My brain is now just. I was in the zone, and then everything went wonky with the internet and threw me out. But alright, so I want to check into the facts of the people who are said to be the ghost. Sorry for the scroll brain today. So we've got a couple of candidates there. I want to look more. I wrote down written accounts, so I'm gonna have to try and go back through my notes and see what it means by written accounts. If it means just like the older stories before we had video and things like that. I do know I went through, or I do remember that I went through and tried to find more possible video evidence from Florence and some of the other storms that we've had locally. Hey, Hickey. Hiccup just woke up. She's trying to get her fat butt down. It's not as funny to watch her jump down as it is to watch her jump up into that and about pull it down. So fucking distracted now. Hey, sweet girl. Shit. Today's been an interesting day, y'all. Just in general. But written accounts. I don't know if they're the old written accounts before. Wait, no, I was ahead of that. Shit. She's still meowing at me, so my brain won't work right. Videos. That was it. The very thing I'm doing right now was the thing I was talking about. Don't have any more videos that I could find about like from recent storms, because we've had a lot of hurricanes that, you know, have just come through since modern technology. So it would make sense if Gray Man comes before big storms. Like, is there a category rating like that he doesn't come like? So when Florence came through, it rolled in at a 1 or a 2, but it was pretty catastrophic because it sat. But if a standard issue Cat 1 rolled through, would the Gray Man show up? Or, you know, does it need to be more like a Cat 3 kind of thing? I don't know. What else are we... Reasons why people could be thinking they're seeing something when they really aren't. You know, Boy Who Cried Wolf obviously just pops into head because this is something that's really hard to experience. Like, you have to have a house on Pawley's Island. You have to be on the beach, I think. Because, yeah, not counting the ones at the Pelican Inn, because it's definitely a different entity in my opinion. I'm playing with a cord like a child. So you have to like be on the beach. You have to have property on the beach. Like, when I say be on the beach, it seems like you have to actually be walking around on it. It doesn't seem like he's just necessarily gonna knock on your door. Well, I guess he did for some of them. See, it's really confusing. But there's certain circumstances that make it really hard to say, okay, well, let's go sit out on Pawleys Island beach and just kind of see if we see the gray man. You're not going to, um, especially now because like hurricane season's over with, or by the time this comes out, it definitely will be. I can't remember if it goes through November or ends on November 1st. But it's almost December now. Anywho. So I want to kind of know what are some reasonings why, if people are seeing or thinking they're seeing a ghost but aren't, right? So the debunking aspect is there's something about the atmospheric conditions when you are outside just before a storm, and what would those conditions be? Because, you know, there is a gray man of Cape Hatteras with a very similar warning, kind of, you know, the hurricane omen thing. So, is it under certain conditions, even geographically, like on the planet, you got to be like Bermuda Triangle kind of thing? You got to be in a certain area for it to work. I had someone tell me they were seeing parasols that were blowing in the wind. That one makes me laugh a lot. Oh, that image just stuck in my head. I'm sorry, y'all. My brain. At least I don't have laundry to do today. You know, in the craziness that makes up me trying to do all the things I have to do. I'm actually home all day. Work hasn't been insane, even though I have a meeting tomorrow, and I don't have to run back and forth to the laundry because I did it yesterday. But still, where's my brain? Not right here. If you guys ever think that I don't talk this much when a camera's not rolling, you are very much mistaken. I will talk to my animals and, you know, the things on my desk. Or myself. I am very entertaining. So, yeah. Let's see if I can find in my notes where I left off. Try and minimize some of my less important things. I live in a building where if like someone closes a door like downstairs and diagonal, I fucking can feel it, and my whole building just shook for some reason. That, or it was the Seneca guns, which that's gonna be a fun one to do. A lot of people think it's something, you know, big and mysterious, and it's really not. Just plate shifting. Oh, well, shit. My notes are just a bunch of links right now. I guess I rambled enough that I thought I would remember everything. But that was before Thanksgiving and before life and before doing all the other things that I have had to do as of recent. KK. That's fine. Oh, I suddenly remember what happened. I got very upset. I had a whole bunch of tabs open, and my computer restarted itself. And because a lot of them, when I try to avoid paywalls, I do things in incognito mode. Because it's like, oh, you can only view 1 or 2 articles a month on certain sites, and because I have to keep going back to them, I run out very quickly. So I do a lot of shit in incognito mode, and I had, I think, 4 different windows with probably 20 different tabs. It was a mess. It was a fucking hot mess of shit on my computer that I lost. Because either Chrome updated or my computer restarted. I don't know. It made me very, very angry. I do remember that. At least I didn't lose, like, the actual research, right? I do have links saved and everything. Too funny how now I'm just remembering that. Alright. I do want to do the history of Pawley's Island. Because I want some basic information. And we are going to write this shit down. Did I maybe use a different notebook? Alright, well, I had a thought for a second. Maybe I used a different notebook, but I did not. Because those are all in the same place, with the exception of the ones that I purposely moved. So, alrighty, whatevs. Yeah, I actually did have a nice little to-do list right here. So, hey, I did get that far. Alright. I am going to use a different notebook, though, because I want something spiral. Be right back. Okay, I think I have it set right, so I don't keep getting distracted. If you've ever been to the Carolina coast, I don't know how far inland or how far just out and about this is where you can get it, but you know, pimento cheese is just one of those southern dishes. But I always forget that fucking Pawleys, you can get palmetto cheese, which is a particular brand of pimento cheese that is really fucking good. They have all different flavors of it, but I'm reading this article and it's just talking about the things Pawley's Island is known for, and it just so happens that one of the things on here is the cheese, and I buy it so often, y'all. Like, I used to work in this office where we would do things like coffee at 3 o'clock, and we would have snacks together, and one of the things we would often have was pimento cheese and like tortilla chips or celery or things like that. But yeah, I've even bought it in the really giant tubs at Costco. Oh. I mean, like, if you look at the ingredients, it's like everything that comes from the South. It is not very healthy. It's like cheese, mayonnaise, and pimentos, which are like little peppers that I think have been marinated or pickled or something. I don't know how to make it. I've seen it made before, and it's kind of like watching a cheese ball be made. But it's really fucking good. So anyways, if you ever happen to see palmetto cheese, it's, you know, a brand that's really close to here. Oh, and if you ever happen to go to Costco, or I know they sell it at Harris Teeter also, and of course they sell it locally at Roberts Market, but the Roberts Market chicken salad, oh my god, y'all, that comes from Wrightsville Beach, which is one of the places I work out of, and it is to die for. I don't know how they make it so good, but it's really good, and you should buy some. And I'm done talking about food for like 5 minutes. I hope. I do eat a lot. Alright, the history. What? Okay, I'm not done talking about food because the palmetto cheese was actually, like, it originated, I guess, either at the house that is now a hotel, the Seaview Inn, or it actually originated at the Seaview Inn, and that's cool. Okay, that's why this feels like this. One of the article that I was reading, was out of a magazine. And with the exception of the food plugs, a lot of it felt kind of familiar, and it's because it linked back to this other website that I had already been on like half a dozen fucking times. But there's a little bit of differences, aside from the history of cheese. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head now. Somebody just bring me tacos and everything will be okay. No, but, like, for reals, though. Now my phone is ringing, and I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to stop this again for someone I don't know. From a number that is not local. So. I thought it was talking about another location. Oh, I guess it is. Okay. One of the things of note is the Pawleys only has like a one-room chapel church. They don't have any other churches on the island. Now that's a difference maker here or there, other than I do know there is a YouTube video where somebody was looking at all the different locations and one of them being that chapel. I will say it is pretty impressive that this little church has survived Hazel, Hugo, Matthew, and I think based off the video I watched, I want to say it was recent enough that I can confidently say Florence too. Because, I mean, it's not up very high. It's maybe up 3 feet, judging by the photo I'm looking at. Possibly less. And I watched a flyover of Pawleys, and, you know, it's very small, very narrow. Bet you it floods like nothing. So, that's impressive. I wonder if the gray man ever stopped by there. Maybe it was his church. There is something about old churches that I do love. That gets lost on modern day ones. So this is cool. One of the reasons that Pawleys is underdeveloped in comparison to places like Myrtle Beach and even Wrightsville and Carolina Beach here in North Carolina, is because back in 1986, property owners of the Seaview Inn and the Pelican Inn heard of large hotel chains considering buying vacant land on the island, and so the town became incorporated and passed ordinances forbidding commercial establishments. So the old ones are, grandfathered in, and the new ones can't come. And that's really interesting. So all of their money for the town really comes through rentals of these little beach houses and the 2 hotels, which is vastly different in comparison to all the other places. I mean, y'all should see Wrightsville Beach in the summertime. It's busy. And that's not counting the more touristy places like Myrtle Beach. God, I used to live in Myrtle Beach. Whew. I do not miss that traffic. Based off of this, it seems also too like, for the most part, the property owners have owned for a really long time. And it's kind of like the founding families are still part of it. I need to write some shit down so I don't forget. Alright. I see something about, like, it said with the founding family still being, it seems like there. With something like this, I would actually, honestly, be really interested to know if perhaps everybody who's had a personal experience, not counting the video experience from Florence, because I've already, I think, discussed my issues on that one enough. But everybody who has claimed to see him, I wonder if they in any way have relationship to the families. And say it's Pawley's family in particular. Like, say it's him. My brain is working overtime right now, and I'm trying to formulate words. So say it's him. Say everybody who has seen the gray man is in some way connected to his family, not just the island. Like, they either are a descendant or they are owners of property that his family owned. Does that make sense? I'm curious. I feel like I talked about this before when I was doing some research. I don't know for sure. I can't remember. I can't recall. It was too long ago. But I genuinely, I would like to know, you know? And unfortunately, there's no way I can reach out to people who are dead. I'm not having a seance just for the sake of research. I'm not. At least not alone and not in my own home. Go do that somewhere else. Far away from where I live. So, that's just a thought that's popped in my head, and I wanted to at least say it out loud so that way I don't forget it later, like I tend to do. Would you say somebody founded an area in a particular year if that's when they got land grants? In this case, 1711, Pawley received land grants for, what became the island? So, I'm guessing the reason why Pawley's Island isn't Pawley's apostrophe S, you know, that kind of Pawleys, and it's just Pawleys, is because it's actually named for his sons, and he had 3: George, Anthony, and Junior. So that's interesting. That's just like a. It's been bothering me the whole fucking time. Like, if your last name is Pawley, why for Pawley's Island is it, you know, not possessive? Why is it plural? And it's because it's actually for his sons and not just for, like him or the family. Alright. I don't think. Okay. He kind of brought rice farming to the area, plantations, but the island really isn't one for plantations. It's like houses and stuff, and it's because it basically became, within 100 years, a summer spot for the wealthy people to come to. So that way they didn't have to stay on their hot, sticky plantations, and, you know, they could just go and relax while others did their work. One day I'm going to research a story that doesn't involve slavery, and it's going to be much happier. But I do live in the South, so unfortunately, away it goes. It's funny though, because it's basically just working in real estate and knowing things is basically the same exact reason that we give for trying to sell property. Because of our cool nights and famed ocean breezes. Some things never change. Oh my gosh, this may be my absolute favorite quote ever. I gotta figure out who said it. Hang on. It's just giving me a last name right now. Alright, so Lee Brockington is a historian, local historian, who wrote a lot of books about Pawleys. And one of the ones that she wrote included a quote. Shit, now I gotta find it again. And this is about the early parts of the 20th century. And I love it because basically how I feel sometimes. For the first time, a strange tribe of newcomers called tourists joined the old families enjoying the only beach in the world. Oh, sorry, I feel that so much. Just because in the summertime, so where I live at, we're a college town, so year round we're busy with college students, and then we get the snowbirds in the winter, and in the summer we get all the beach traffic. And it just makes me laugh so much. Because, I mean, oh goodness. I've never been to other tourist towns that aren't on a beach. So I don't know what it's like to live in the mountains in the fall when everybody's there. Mostly because if I'm going to the mountains, it's not when it's all pretty, even though I would love to. I'm usually going to escape the craziness of my own area. But I don't know what tourists are like everywhere else, but oh my goodness. They drive me crazy, y'all. Insane. And that just tickled me. Like, oh my god, it tickled me so much. Good times. Its nickname for its style is arrogantly shabby. Basically just goes on to say how it's still an affluent area. So, nothing super fancy about the history of the island, standard issue. There. Trying to make sure cat's not clawing something she ain't supposed to be. Right. So, now, let's look up the founder. This is actually kind of neat. I'm guessing because of him being a public figure slash forever ago. His family tree is actually on Ancestry. That's pretty cool. And a lot of kids. Oh, wait. This is not him. This must be his son. Yeah. He was born too late. Yeah, there we go. Well, he doesn't have a lot on here. His kids have more. It's still good info. Let's see. He was born in 1667 and died on November 14th, 723. Wait. Okay. Too many pins. I thought for a second that the first sighting was in 1722, but it was in 1822. So. That's good. Sorry if I'm just randomly humming. It just tends to be what I do. I'll make sure I have my link saved so I don't lose them again. Things going on. one of the things I want to look up, two of the things I want to look up are original property locations and the property locations of the people who have claimed to see the Green Man. Their properties that weren't touched. I want to know what they were. Or where they were, not what they were, but like if it's 123 Main Street, I want to know that so I can look at it on a map and then compare it to where original property lines were constructed, so that way I can kind of see if by any chance there's the land connection to one of the families like I mentioned. So I was writing that down so I didn't forget. I found I found a report from 1971 talking about one of the original Pawley's houses. This is the introduction or whatever. Anyways, I'm laughing because it's just so fucking relatable, and you'll see why, because I'm going to read this to you guys. And if you've spent any time on my shit, you know it takes me forever to do. Like I say, I'm going to do something, and then it takes me forever because it just does. Things take a long time, but this has been a small project designed as a one-day examination of the site. The purpose was simply to determine whether or not the structure was really what it seemed to be, and to decide if further work would be justified. This small project, however, was really far more than a one-day effort. Even omitting the considerable time that the property owner, Mr. Calhoun, spent searching in the documents, it was more than a one-day effort. The archaeologist and assistant spent the day examining the physical remains and photographing them. The photographs were developed and printed. The archaeologist devoted 4 days in preparation of the report, including checking the documents, comparing the information with that from other sites, and consulting with the historic architect. The typist spent a day on the report, and Xerox copies of the report were made. In all, 9 man-made days were spent, plus travel and supplies. All of this, and really the only actual excavation was... Sorry, I'm laughing too much. All this, and really the only actual excavation that was done was to excavate one small hole beneath the east end of the house. By combining all the above mentioned efforts, though, the purpose of the project was accomplished. And how relatable is that? It's like, oh, this is going to take me 5 minutes. And then it's just like, a bajillion hours later and you're not done yet. It's so relatable. But that just made me chuckle so well, or so much. Oh wow, they spent $500 on doing this, like back in the 70s. A lot of money. It's kind of funny whenever you read old reports like this, just because I'm not far from this location, just some of the old names that are still quite common around here today. Oh, but what got me clicking on this, sorry, something popped up on my computer screen for no reason. I got distracted. The reason why I clicked on this report to begin with is because I'm hoping maybe, like I said, I wanted to research property things and the magic of Google and listening devices. Interesting enough, like one of the next things I clicked on was about, one of the original homes. Oh, I like this very much. You ever just like get a good piece of information and it just gives you the happy shivers? That sounded wrong. But you know what I mean. So this actually talks about when Pawley first got some of the property. It says in 1694, May 9th, George Pawley, who... Wait, is his name originally George? I don't know. No, George Pawley was his dad. So George Pawley, who is Percival? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I just call him Mr. Pawley because I can't pronounce his first name. What the fuck ever. His daddy originally owned lots in Charleston. And then in 1706, March 8th, looks like he became the deeded heir. Let's see, shipwright, son and heir of George Pawley, joiner. Yeah, okay. So he became owner. Do those dates line up? Alright, so George died in 1695. He owned lots in 94. So it doesn't say when his mom died. So I'm gonna assume around there because it doesn't have his mom's name. All right. 1711, he received 13 grants, 2,500 acres on the PD, Sandpit, and Waccamaw rivers. One of the Pawley grants extended from the Waccamaw River to the sea marsh, establishing thereby a pattern for long, narrow plantations which stretched from river to ocean across Waccamaw Neck. The Pawley lands were among the first to be improved. By December 1717, Pawley had a surplus cattle with which to supply the Indian post at, not going to try and pronounce that wrong, and a packer to inspect the efforts was anointed in 1714. There's definitely some words I'm not going to try and pronounce out loud. And if they are from one of the local tribes, I am definitely not going to be rude enough to try and do that. My mouth can only wrap around so many words, and those are not alright. Wait, who's Major? I don't know if it's common anywhere else, but around here it's very common for, well, more like, used to be more common for men to be named Major. However, because they fucking named all of their kids after each other, I don't know if somebody was a major or if they were Major. And it makes reading this very difficult. Because the family tree that I got, it's not very detailed for that far back. It was more detailed further up, but alright. And they could just be saying Major because instead of senior, you know? Because he had a son named Junior, and let's see. This details how the house was built, which, oh god. The nerd in me wants to read this hardcore detail, but that's not what I'm here for. Seriously. I need, like, that person who just squirts me with a water bottle like I'm a cat whenever I start getting distracted on things. You guys have no idea how much my nerdy little brain wants to read all about how this house was built. It's difficult to scroll through. I can read it in my off time. That's just what I keep telling myself. Actually, I do need to fucking save this link, or I will be quite upset come later when I need it again. Download it too. Can I? Yes. Can I? It's a PDF. Of course I can. hate that all these pictures of the house are photocopies and not actual prints. Because I want to see all these details in great details. Such a fucking dork for old shit. Old houses, old furniture, old books. The older the better. Alright, well this didn't actually give me much on the location. So this will just be for my own dorky needs. Why does that name sound familiar? I'm gonna go wake up the dog because he's wolfing. And I don't want him to, like, he's old, he'll sometimes fall and hurt himself, so I'm gonna go take care of him. I'm trying to play with my settings. Alright, but anyways, I'm back. Dog's taken care of. And I just found out that I'm going to be getting a baby goat, a dragon fruit dragon, and a Venus flytrap squishable. So I'm super happy. Y'all know I love my fucking squishables. I'm lost again. I took 2 minutes to fucking check on the dog and watch some funny clips that somebody sent me, and found out about the squishables, and now I'm just lost. Let's see. reading another timeline for another property that it's Litchfield Plantation, and it stuck out to me as a name that I recognized, and I wasn't sure from where, and it was because one of the families that is where I started going down last time, where people might be connected by their families. I'm not sober right now, so my mind is also going in all the crazy places. Alright, so, but this plantation, it was owned by, let's see, one of the founding families from Pawleys, and it's just right up the road from it. But even though they're one of the founding families, they did not own this at that point in time. It was owned by, let's see, Thomas Hepworth originally. There's no M. Hepworth. And he was granted this land in 1710 from King George II. So, it was owned by the Tucker family during the first sighting, and still by the Tucker family for the second sighting. And the second, I've got like my notebook with, oh wow, you can see how terribly written my notes are. Oh, I just write all over the place. In comparison to these notes that are written a little bit neater. Back to the handwriting thing from earlier. And I dropped my pen. So, alright. Back to my timeline check. So, 1893 sighting, the Sea Islands hurricane, was seen by Bakote? I think is how, I don't know how you pronounce her name. Seen by them, but they didn't own this piece of property yet. 1916, though, it was owned by them. But I don't know who saw it in 1916 because I can't find a written account of that. I do rather like this bit of information, though. Let's see. See if it gives me any other. Yeah, they have a list of plantations for Georgetown County where Pawleys is located. And in some cases, there are. I would need to know the names of the plantations, even though some of them say are um, if they are for like Pawleys, I don't know necessarily. Let's see. Which ones are for? Well, I can honestly say nobody ever said that research was not a little on the non-inventive side of things. Most things you get excited about are just simple words. I'm trying to click on all the ones that are earmarked as being part of Pawleys, or like in one case for one of these on the Waccamaw Neck, since that's where his property was. I am skimming through just to see on these that have timelines what their timelines are in relation to the founding of Pawleys, as well as Gray Man stories. And if just any of the names pop out, like this one seems to be heavily related to that Litchfield plantation that I was just reading about. one point in time, one of these pieces of property was purchased by the Tucker families, who more than likely who owned Litchfield because it backed up next to it, but it doesn't look like they ever actually merged the two plots, and so it was later sold off separately. More things I want to click on. So a copy of a deed. This is actually not terrible lighting. I just realized I did not do any adjusting or anything when I sat back down. I have no idea. I hope you guys haven't been sitting in the dark. If I ever had a time traveling machine, I would still go back in time and buy property for dirt cheap. This lady bought 766 acres for $5. I have $5 sitting in my purse. Okay, well, it was sold to her by her husband, so. I'm trying so hard not to read a joke into, like, read something as a joke, because it's not. It's just a joke that's running through my head, and I'm trying so hard to squash it so I can read this. So this particular piece of property is connected to Pawley. Holy shit. Sorry. The link that I clicked on took me to a listing for a book on Amazon. It is $1,200. That's a lot of money for a book. And I like books. But that's a lot of money for a book. Alright. Earliest existence of this land was 1711. Anthony Shorey. I hear Shorzy. I'm sorry to this family. I'm not reading Shorey. I'm reading and saying Shorzy in my head, and well, Good show. But I try so hard to focus. With my stupid little brain that is quickly losing all kinds of interest in things. Mostly because I have a sudden urge to just go wash dishes. Don't ask. Alright, so Anthony was granted 500 acres on Waccamaw River. His son Junior inherited it from him. Junior gave it to his sister Anne, who at that point in time was one of the Pawleys' wives. Let's see if I can figure out which one. Okay. She's the main wife. At some point in time, Anne gave the property to her son George, one of the 3 sons that Pawley's Island is named after. At some point in time, somebody else inherited or received a grant for 1,370 acres, and he quickly transferred his grant to George. George received another grant, this one for 500 acres. 40 years later, the property was resurveyed, and it was determined he received a grant for 500 acres, and it actually ended up being 845 acres. Oh, to be a white man during certain periods in time. Alright. In 1773, George died, leaving a detailed will. Eldest son. It was also named after the founder. See why history is confusing? Everybody names their kids after each other without, like, any way to decipher who is who. Alright. Here it is. Where he was already living. He died. Alright. Here we go. Once again, I'm trying to figure out who owned what during what periods of time when things were seen. This property was eventually sold to Loudon, who is the one who might possibly haunt the Pelican Inn. Sounds like it's getting windy outside. Random rabbit hole. Didn't really get much there. Alright, my brain is not functioning right this second for words. I don't even know what I'm trying to think. I think, mostly right now what I'm trying to think is, I'm definitely having a brain blip as to what I'm trying to do next. I went down a rabbit hole. That's what I want to see. I want to see if Edward Teach was ever around Pawleys, like long term, to have a connection with it. I know he had property in North Carolina up in Bath, but I don't know if he had really any reason to haunt Pawleys Island. So let's see if we have any information on Blackbeard and Pawleys. So he formed blockade at Charleston, or blockade with pirates. Charleston, which is close. Ran Queen Anne's Revenge aground in Beaufort, North Carolina. Settled in Bath. But those are too far north. Charleston is a fairly good location, but again, why wouldn't he be haunting Charleston instead of Pawleys? Actually, looks like it would make more sense if he was the Gray Man of Cape Hatteras, because Ocracoke Inlet is his more favorite area, and that's not far from Hatteras. So he was actually killed in North Carolina. And his head was displayed at the Chesapeake Bay for several years. He really didn't do much in South Carolina. I'm just gonna toss this one away because, yeah, I don't really foresee him being someone haunting Pawleys for as much as he did elsewhere. Basil, come here, boy. Yeah, you're making noise. Yeah. Best boy Baz, rolling around on the floor. Alright. Various superstitious tales exist of Teach's ghost. Unexplained lights at sea. That's not really helpful. Alright, nothing really of note. Sorry, I have an alarm going off on my phone. Alright, so out of all of our possible candidates for who could be haunting Pawleys, it's more than likely Pawley himself. I'm trying so hard to refrain from Pollywog and Cracker jokes, but anywho, because Teach just doesn't quite make sense. As much as I love a good pirate tale, just because he wasn't really in the area enough and he didn't die near the area, his body wasn't displayed in the area. Like, I mean, from like, I would say Topsail Beach north to Chesapeake Bay would be the area you would more than likely see his ghost, if, you know, that is a thing. Since he ran ashore around Topsail and lived in Bath, Ocracoke, this is more favorite area, and then of course, yeah, head being displayed in Chesapeake. Weston died, was, you know, too young and died too late to be the ghost. Oh. Oh. But I am tired. My brain is mush and I do have chores to do. So, I'm gonna say, I'm actually gonna make a note of likely to be Teach or Weston. And I'm gonna put note that says, actually I'm gonna put it over here. For next time, possible logical explanations for what people were saying. I feel like stress is probably, aside from, person calling wolf, stress would probably be the biggest reason that somebody might see something like they're not fully paying attention and somebody walks up to them, or they aren't fully paying attention and somebody walks by them and they just feel like all of a sudden that person came out of nowhere and went nowhere. But yeah, stress from that coming storm. Especially too because the first story, the girl, or supposedly her long lost love or whatever, she was depressed and in distress from losing him, so. I'm done for now, so I will hopefully remember to do more soon, or I won't say remember, have an opportunity. I think tomorrow I have errands and I have a meeting, so hopefully Thursday I'll have the opportunity to do more. I can hear the wind whistling outside. But hopefully Thursday I'll have the opportunity to do more, because I think on Friday I'm going to have to run errands. So we shall see. But I'll see y'all soon.